So now that you're comfortable adding parts to your game as well as changing some of the properties of those parts, I wanted to point out two properties that are very important with the parts that you're working with. So let's get started. So this is the game we're working with, and again, I highly recommend that you go up to File and then go ahead and start saving the file to your computer. If you hit Save to File, you're going to just save it in this version. But I want to save another version of this, so I'm going to save to File As, and I've got Roblox Demo Game version 1. I'm going to go ahead and change this to version 2 now. And again, I highly recommend this so that you can go back and edit any mistakes that you may have made that might have affect the game later on. So now that I have that, that's saved that file to my computer. If you feel really comfortable with this game, you can always publish it, but right now we don't need to publish it again because we have the file saved on our computer. So the two properties that I wanted to point out, I'm going to click on the block on the right hand side there. I'm going to go to properties on the bottom right hand side, and you're going to notice there is a behavior drop down. And so the first one that I want to point out is the CanCollide. So the CanCollide, if it's turned on, then that means that it can touch other things. So you see, if I try to move this around that, it won't actually go through it because it can collide. It can hit that object. Now, if I turn this off, now when I go to move this, I can actually move it through. I can move this one through that part. You see how I can just move it straight through the other part? And that's because I have collisions or CanCollide turned off on that part. So this is something we're going to run into many times throughout the game when we're coding. We want to make sure for certain times you're going to want the CanCollide on so that people can touch it and then kind of jump on it and that kind of thing. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say I say turn CanCollide off. I'm going to play this real quick. So now that I turned CanCollide off, I'm going to turn around and I can find now I can't find that at all, can I? And you know why? It's because of the next item we need to talk about, and that is anchored. So right now, this part is not anchored, and so that means it can kind of just fall through things. And with CanCollide turned off, it means it could go straight through the terrain. So you're like, what happened? So basically, you need to go to behavior, and now I need to click on anchored. And anchored will keep it in that place. So those are the two important ones I want to point out, anchored and CanCollide. Now let me try this. And when I turn around, you'll notice that it's there. Okay, and now when I do this, so you notice I can go through the bricks, and that's because I cannot collide with it. So I can't touch it, I can't jump on anything. So if I stop this, and then I go back to the properties of that brick, and I turn CanCollide on, and now I play the game, you'll notice that I will be able to touch the brick. And again, this is very important for the different things you do in your game. So a lot of times when you have any problems moving forward, most likely it's anchored or CanCollide. And same thing, so you can see this block, this one is not anchored, so it's kind of moving around. And the CanCollide is on, isn't it? Because I can't touch it. So let's say I want to have that sphere in the same place throughout the game. I want to click the sphere, and you'll notice anchored is turned off. So these properties are for each part. And so now when I play the game, I will be able to touch that part and it won't move because it's anchored. So I wanted to make a special lesson on these two qualities because they're going to be something you run into throughout your Roblox building. And a lot of times when you're looking at a part and trying to figure something out, you want to make sure to double check your anchored and your CanCollide. Anchored is especially important when you're building models moving forward. So your action item for today is to become comfortable with anchored and CanCollide, and go ahead and test run your game and play it so that you feel comfortable with what each one of those does and how it affects the parts in your game. So I thank you, and I'll see you in the next lesson.